a brand new start. You've been living on the edge with forever as a pledge. No more giving it up, turning me loose, setting us free. Baby, keeping it real, cause we got what it takes for sure. There's no turning back anymore. Can you see it's all a game? Life goes on all the same. If at first you don't succeed, all you've got is all you need. If you believe, then stake your claim.
Hello, Rise and Thrivers. Welcome to another Monday evening. It is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and welcome to Rise and Thrive Together. If you are new to the show, and just in case you want a little bit of information of who we are and what we're about, as a reminder, we are Rise and Thrive Together, and we are a committed community out to educate and empower you to have the results that you want through real action and real talk. And I'm really excited this evening to bring on my favorite person, my partner, and my dear friend, Raquel Stuart, as we go on to this amazing month of August. And we've got such a great guest, and the conversations have been extraordinary. So, hey, Rock, nice to see you.
Hey everyone. Hey Rich. Hello to our new listeners, viewers, however you are hearing or seeing us tonight. We just want to welcome you to Rise and Thrive Together. And I love the topic for this month. It is absolutely incredible, and it's mental fortitude. It's more than grit, right? It takes more than that to overcome this. Right? So I love the conversation that we're having. So amazing. Last week, we learned about pain neuroscience, which was absolutely incredible. And today, we're bringing someone who is absolutely amazing, great speaker, advocate, and he deals with the young people. We need some folks, especially men, who work with our youth. That's absolutely incredible. So, sis, how was your week? I mean, it just started. How was your day?
So it's big, just an incredible day of classes, and mostly for our listeners who's been following me, that whole mental fortitude to mental grit. We got to the finish line, boys and girls. We got to the finish line, and this Saturday, 2 years into the making, when we started this show, and Rock was like, hey, it's time, thanks to a community of extraordinary of all of you, and even those who don't even know, my children's book came out. So we are up, we are live. It's on Amazon, it's on Kindle. It's been overwhelming. People have picked up their copies. People are writing to me today. So I'm super excited. And you couldn't ask for a better topic like in these past few weeks to get to have that book to be fully published. Like, we got to that end line. And, in case you guys are new to the conversation, we were talking about mental fortitude being an overall umbrella, an umbrella of these ideas, like these umbrella of courage. Thank you, Genevieve. Umbrella of, the resilience, all of that, what it takes to really have that mental fortitude, those beliefs, systems, all of that. And the grit is like that final, getting to the end of that finish line. And that is really, it's taken a long time. So thank you, sis. There it is. All these beautiful, beautiful drawings were made by a young person who graduated high school, but during her whole entire final year of high school, she did every illustration, worked with my 8-year-old daughter. So super exciting. And that goes perfectly into having, where you're talking about how important it is. Our youth are not our future, they're our now. So I'm excited to have this next guest. And sis, I would love for you to share who he is. Ready? Boom. Go for it.
Who's that? No. Gaston Sanchez, originally from NYC, relocated to South Florida with his family in April 2005. He earned a bachelor's degree in sociology with a minor in psychology from the City University of New York Hunter College, whoop, whoop, alma mater. With over 3 decades of experience in the social services field, Gaston has dedicated his career to working with at risk youth, applying his expertise from his tenure at the NYC Department of Juvenile Justice and his extensive group work within the foster care residential group home system. Throughout his career, Gaston has worked hands on with numerous organizations committed to providing the highest quality services to foster care and community youth. His passion and dedication to youth advocacy stem from his deep belief in treating every young person with dignity and respect. Gaston has had the privilege of mentoring and supporting youth in need of guidance, acceptance, and encouragement. He firmly believes that mentors and educators must lead by example, fostering environments that inspire young people to make responsible decisions that shape their future contributions to society. His professional philosophy is built on maintaining the highest standards of respect, professionalism, and integrity in both his professional and personal life. Through his continued work, Gaston remains committed to empowering and uplifting youth, ensuring they receive the guidance and resources needed to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on Mr. Gaston Sanchez.
Yes, let's do it. Here he comes. Whoop, whoop.
Right.
Listen to that clap. Listen to
Yes, I
that
hear it.
clap, Gaston.
I
What's
hear it.
up?
I'm excited. I'm ready to perform.
Yes. Thank you for
Nah.
being here. You know, you and I met, Gaston and I met at an event a few months ago, and he was one of the keynote speakers. He was first on stage and was he is amazing. He is amazing. Um, that is why I so wanted him to be here and had him meet with my beautiful co-host and dear friend, because you just held that room, Gaston. You held that room of people of all walks of life. It didn't matter what color, race, creed, financial, gender, anything. You truly lit up that room. And it was just so perfect when this topic came up to have you here. And so we're just so blessed. And it was beautiful to hear your bio, because you and I and Raquel have a lot in common. You know, youth is my passion as well for a very long time. So super happy. So welcome to Rise and Thrive.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm excited. I've been excited all week since you guys invited me. It's all month since you guys invited me. So I was looking forward to it. I spoke to you ladies a few times, via text, via phone calls, and genuine ladies. I appreciate you guys. I want to congratulate Regina as well as the publishing of your book.
Thank you.
That's a great accomplishment. And Raquel as well. I mean, we just spoke briefly as far as your background and us being New Yorkers. I mean, we have something in common, huh?
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes. We might live in different states, but the New York stays in us.
Always.
And I take it with me wherever I go, wherever it needs to be.
Yes.
The New York shows up.
Yes.
That's why we even had like that moment. Like, you want to talk about how small the world is, people?
Yes, I was just about to say that. You read my mind.
Tell them.
Yes. My wife and I actually we bought concert tickets here at the Broward Performing Arts because we're big fans of Lisa and Taylor Dane. This was like 2 weeks ago. And my wife and I walk in, we're ready for the show. And then at a distance, I see someone dancing. And I'm like, I looked at my wife and I said, I think I know that lady. And jamming away, had her back towards me. And then lo and behold, she turns around and I said, I know you. And she looked at me and I said, Regina. She's like, oh, how are you? And it's a small world. Like, we both are fans. I mean, we don't want to age ourselves, but the fact that, we love those artists and, it's a small world. You never know. And that's what I'm saying is like, that's part of what I do as well. Cause you never know who you're going to bump into. And it goes into the fact that if you fail to treat everyone with the respect and professionalism and integrity, you're actually providing a disservice to yourself as well.
Mm.
Yes, it's such a small world. And let me tell you, your girl, Raquel, your girl, Regina, was dancing all night.
I
We,
know
we were
that's her
actually
thing.
behind her. We were sitting in the balcony behind her, and my wife and I, look at her go. She dancing the whole night.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's jump in here
Yes.
because I really am interested in knowing about, you mentioned it just now, you said respect, professionalism, and integrity, and someone wrote in the comments RPI, and they had the hand clapping. And tell us about this RPI. And yes, I know you had a career working with at-risk youth, but how did you get into it?
Well, through my early years in Hunter College, as any other high school student,
Whoop whoop,
we're happy.
Hunter. Sorry.
Yes, we're excited to graduate from high school, but there's always a level of uncertainty, and I always talk about that during when I'm invited to speak at high schools. Especially as students need to know that not all of us are set and know exactly what career path we're going to take on once we graduate high school. So there was a level of uncertainty in my end, but I just happened to get a job at a residential treatment center, and that kind of led me in the path of social work. And I was at Hunter College at that time, and I always share the story, and I'm completely transparent and honest. And integrity is we're not perfect. I wasn't doing so well at Hunter College. Um, I was my GPA was suffering, but once I was able to get this job, and along with my academic counselor, I always say that, who till this day is still with me, still counseling. She's retired already from Hunter College, but she always supported me throughout those years. And I always say this, that my girlfriend then, who is my wife now, was also very involved in me, kind of following my path, and not only sacrificing her classes at one point to kind of make sure that I kind of pursued my dream. So I think that was the start of it. I think that was the start of working in a residential treatment center, working with kids that really needed help. At that point, it was an emotional, it's a very it was basically mental health, emotional needs for kids that lived in this residential program, and that started for me. And I was like, the kids are, they're people, and they go through their ups and downs, and they have a lot of emotional baggage, they have trauma. And who are we to pass judgment? We are there to support and encourage as much as possible, because a lot of times when they act out, it's not against us, it's just the trauma that they've been through. So we can internalize and take that personal as well. So that led me in that path, and then little by little, I was able to find other career opportunities. I worked with the Department of Juvenile Justice at that time in the Bronx. Spofford was the name of the
I remember Spofford.
yes, Spofford over by Hunts Point.
Yep.
Yeah, I was there for like 3 years, and then little by little, I started growing in the area in my career, and then I worked at St. Luke's Hospital as an intensive crisis case manager there for a while. And then we moved to South Florida, and in South Florida, I pursued the same career. I got hired at a residential program, one of the largest residential programs in South Florida. It was called The Haven at that time, and I worked under great leadership. I worked under a great mentor. I'm going to give him a shout out, my friend Grant Perkovich, who was the residential director at that time. Until this day, we're still friends. Nothing but respect for the man, and I learned from him as well, because a lot of times we learn from others. I'm not an expert in all areas, but I know that I had great tutors along the way and great mentors as well. And that's my job, to kind of be a mentor as well for our kids who are in need. So the reason why I came out with RPI is because we have so many people, not just youth, but adults who can relate to RIP, rest in peace, right? So we want to prevent that. So I said, let me keep the same letters and focus on respect, professionalism, and integrity. And my mission with that is understanding that respect, professionalism, and integrity will allow you to reach your potential despite obstacles along the way. We like obstacles along the way. So, and I preach it. I practice it. Like I say, we're not perfect. I practice it. I learn. I reflect. I reflect on everything. So even after we have this podcast, I'm going to reflect. Oh, what could I have said differently? What did I learn from this podcast? So it allows me to grow as well, because we're always, we're never too old to learn. And I'm always going to be, in the real talk, RPI real talk. The real talk is speaking about my experiences and working in all these all these residential programs, working at and bring true experiences to our youth, and let them understand that they are valuable and they are worthy. And because I've, through my experiences, we've lost kids through different poor decision makings that, and at the same token, it's just my job to kind of maybe help as along the way, or instill a little something that will help them understand the importance of investing in themselves.
Wow.
I love how you took, RPI, because I only know you through that, right? Like respect. I knew that already. And how you were like, yeah, at the end of the day, human beings, it's rest in peace. And we want to not just disrupt that, we want to eradicate that. We want to
Mm-hmm.
give everybody, and you like focusing on the youth, right? Being able to say like, hey, you don't have to be RPI no longer invisible. We want you visible. And the way we make you visible is through respect, professionalism, and integrity. And I'm going to tell you, because I'm somebody, your story, it's why we created this show. People's stories, right, are so important. So one,
Yeah.
you telling your story about you and or someone else has given you that permission. I saw that room that day when we were in that event, to watch each person. And I know people came up to you. Like I couldn't even come over to congratulate you, right? Because people were coming up to you. I love it. That's so moving. I love it.
No, I listen. At the end of the day, I don't just go to present. Maybe I'm old school. I really don't like the stage. Like I don't like being on stage. I'd rather be down with the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
One of the last high school presentations I came on stage, I told them I wanted to be down there with them. But I make it my purpose, and I make sure that after every presentation, I meet and greet everyone. I think it's important for me to meet and greet everyone, and shake hands. And I don't know, we're there to help, and we're there to support and encourage as much as possible. And I always say, I'm always going to I'm going to support you. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to be there any way possible, even if you don't return the favor. But I know at the end of the day, you need to know that someone has your back. So I think it's important. It's important in my end to maintain. I always say this: professionalism is not just at the workplace. If you carry yourself as a professional in every walks of life, a lot of doors are going to open for you. But people are actually going to, you're going to reach a lot of people. And one of the things I heard too is like when you carry yourself with integrity, is like you have no reason to hide anything. And when I talk to my young people, not just as a motivational speaker, but as a career coach, also with some of my youth, I tell them, if your level of professionalism bleeds out of you, and you are a person of integrity, people are going to hire you, and people
Yes.
are going to know that they are getting a person who's 100% in, who's going to value the mentorship that they're going to receive while they're at that employment. So I think that's very important. So I always say that, going into the mental fortitude, I think mental fortitude is basically mental toughness. I love the topic that you guys had last week with Dr. Fernandez, physical therapist Fernandez, I believe. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think there was something that you guys wrote, something that I heard about and I watched the show too, by the way, so you guys will know now.
Integrity.
Yes,
He's
of
doing his
course.
homework.
Yes. I have to do my homework. If I'm going to come on live, I have to, do a little bit of research. But he said he made a lot of important topics of not just physical health. I think for me, the importance, I think one time I did a little post in which I always say that mental and emotional health is of greater importance as a physical health. It's good to stay in shape, and it's good to, look good. But at the same token, if you're not mentally and emotionally right, all of that just goes out the window. So I think that's pretty much important. Yeah.
You have been getting like people saying you're a career coach. Fascinating, and sounds like a full wrap around service. Raymond says, terrific platform, but I have a big question, because this, came up before. Chalita says,
That's
wash hands,
yeah.
wash hands, wash hands.
I,
So
I,
tell
that's my aunt.
us.
That's my aunt in Ecuador.
What's up,
Wow.
Auntie?
Hi, Auntie.
Yes.
That's mi tia Chela
I'm Tia
Ah.
Chela. Hola.
in
So what
Ecuador.
is
Yeah.
the wash hands, wash hands, wash hands?
I
What's
have
that?
no idea. Maybe she was translating to something.
I think honestly, like you can, say this in
Clap hands,
Spanish.
maybe.
No, I was thinking when maybe she remembers you always saying that you want to be down there,
Yeah,
shake
right.
hands. And I wonder if it
Maybe.
translated into wash hands.
Pues
You
saludos a la
completed
familia
7.
también que están viendo, la familia que están viendo el programa en inglés. I just said, let's just send a little shout out, Raquel, to my family who are watching, who are of Spanish speaking language. So
Yeah,
you
I
guys are
know.
international right now, like I said before. You guys are going internationally now. You guys go in Ecuador now too, as well.
That's so cool. I have a question though.
Yeah.
You empower the youth, you uplift the youth. I think that is absolutely incredible. My question is, how do you do that for yourself?
Oh, Regina did say that you're going to have some good questions.
Oh.
I gave him a little prep. I did a little.
Yeah. No, I think, let me tell you something. Every day when I get a chance, who are our best motivators? Ourselves. There's no, we can do motivational speaking, we can present, but the only people that are going to motivate you is yourself. So, every morning I try to get up and say, not in that order, but my gym is my therapy. I go to the gym. That's where I do a lot my better thinking. I follow other mentors. I follow other motivational speakers. So how I do it for myself is I try to stay as positive as possible all the time. A lot of people always ask, why are you always having in a positive move? Little things bother us here and there, but I try to stay more focused on how is that going to make me feel? I'm going to focus on the positive part of my life. I think it serves no purpose to kind of give somebody else that minute or that 10-second of importance to kind of bring me down. So, everywhere I go, my family would tell you, my wife would tell me, my kids would tell you, everywhere I go, I'm always saying hello to people, even if I don't know them. I walk into a restaurant, I say hello. So those are the things that keep me going. I think I'm always trying to maintain a good level of positivity. I look at the bright side of things. I get at home, I get a little bit of the real talk as well.
No.
So like I said before, what keeps me going is making sure that I stay positive, and I try to help in any area that I can. My friends would tell you that, I'm trying to support as much as possible. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy it. I don't like to ridicule anyone because I don't want to be ridiculed. I don't like to make fun of people because unless we're having a good fun, but to be of say anything distasteful to anyone is totally uncalled for. I think it reflects on me as the individual. So if I, kind of talk down on someone, it reflects on the kind of person that I am, and that's not who I am. So I do it because I enjoy it. I love it. RPI is my brand. I would say is my baby. Thanks to the help of, my beautiful bride who pushed me to make this a brand. So I'm very thankful to her as well.
Awesome. I love that. You're getting brownie points tonight. Just saying.
Thank you.
Now, you mentioned mental toughness.
Yep.
What does that mean? Because my thing is, I'm hoping some people don't misconstrue what mental toughness means and what mental fortitude means. So my question is, what do you mean by mental toughness? And part 2 is there a difference between mental toughness and mental fortitude?
Well, you know what? I think we'll start with the fortitude. I think fortitude focuses on having basically a strong mind. Like you guys discussed it last week about, is it just grit? So I think it's being, make sure a person who can actually go through challenges or handle challenges, and you kind of go within the inner self to persevere, to have that strength to persevere through these challenges, to move forward through these challenges. I think with that, it's important also, like, we got to be patient. Mental fortitude has to do with being patient as well. We try to avoid the negativities and the obstacles that that come along our way. I think with the mental toughness, you gotta be able to put those all into place. You got to be able to kind of practice exactly what the toughness, the challenges, the perseverance, the having a strong mind. That's the toughness part of it. Making sure that you actually talk to yourself and focus on yourself and say, you know what, I'm not going to allow those negativities to kind of affect me in any way whatsoever. So, we got to challenge ourselves. I think sometimes challenges are thrown at us, but we got to also challenge ourselves how we're going to handle those challenges. And I think a lot of it has to do with, like I said before, it goes to, your inner strength.
Mm.
How, how valued do you feel? Do you know your self-worth? um so I think a lot of times is, I've heard a lot of young people say, I'm not worthy. Yes, you are.
Uh-huh.
You're very worthy. I'm not valuable. And I think it's important for us, not just as youth, but as adults, to also understand that we are valuable individuals. And that comes with, having that mental fortitude, you know, and I think it goes a long way, especially in the field that we're in when we help our young people and our youth.
Right.
I mean, I could stay here and talk all night
We got
because
some
I love
questions
to
for
talk.
you.
But we've got some people in the chat, and I do want to get back to that self-worth and mental fortitude. Go ahead, sis. You
Yeah,
see better than
I
I do.
think it goes perfect because he's talking about, motivate. So, and listen, real talk, right? This is real talk.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, people have some questions because that sounds nice. Like, oh, we've got to stay positive.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
right.
I motivate myself. Straight up, Gaston,
Yeah,
that is not very easy for many people.
of course.
Raquel and I know that we're committed, right? So the question goes over here, and we're not here. Let me make a disclaimer on behalf of Rise and Thrive Together and RPI. We are not therapists.
Hmm.
We are not here. This show is not a therapy session, but we are here to, be able to give a strategy, give a tip. From that, please make sure that you go and get the
Yes.
support that you need. And if there are resources, please feel free to reach out to info at Rise and Thrive Together, or reach out to Gaston. I'll put up his information and we can provide you resources. Let me get that disclaimer out.
Yes.
But
Thank you.
somebody said that there's so much of a disconnect in our youth because there are so many distractions
Of
today.
course.
And so, Dee Dee says, as a parent, what could I do to help motivate my teenager? So that's why I put that disclaimer out there. But she's sort of there's so many distractions, there's so many things. And as a parent, she just feels like, what's maybe a little tip or something you might want to say that can help her maybe support her child in a way to get some motivation happening. And again, not from a therapeutic, but just
Of
something
course.
that you might share from RPI's perspective.
Right. No, I think it's important also to keep in mind. I mean, working in programs, I've learned so much about how to be able to engage our youth in activities. I think one of the things that I always I use a lot of quotes because I listen to a couple of motivational speakers, and Les Brown is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
What does Les Brown says, and you're going to hear about something else later on that I kind of correlate with a Nelson Mandela quote. So, well, I'll start with the Nelson Mandela quote, then I'll tell you about Les Brown, which will answer the question.
Okay.
Nelson Mandela is known for obviously. I love using this quote every time I do presentations, especially when I speak to our young people who are in school and high schools. Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. And I think it's key, and it's important for our young people to know that. Not necessarily change the world, but change the community, change themselves, right? Working hard at finding their value. But one of the things I always say is Les Brown flipped it and said, social media, which is majority, 100% of the distraction for our young people because they're all attached to their phone, and TikTok and Instagram and so many other little, apps that are out there that I really don't know about. It's funny when I do presentations, the kids tell me the new things that are out there now. So he said it in one of his press. Social media is a weapon of mass distraction. So, that comes into play with the question being asked. Yeah, there's a lot of distractions out there. And I think as a parent sometimes, and me, my wife being parents of adult kids now, one of the things I try to help, and not only that with the kids I work with now, is figuring out what their interests are. Minimizing the social media platform, minimizing the TV time. We got grandkids now, so it's minimizing the TV time, minimizing the phone time. There's so many things in social media now that kids are exposed to, that we weren't exposed to. I remember when I didn't have a cell phone. I had I was the happiest man when I got a beeper.
I know. I was going to say the beeper.
Yes, and you have to find a phone to call whoever's beeping you. So I think it's just finding our young people, finding their interests, spending time with them. I know it's tough sometimes because we have to work and we're out of the house most of the times, and we have kids in daycare. Our teachers, our educators, which I have the utmost respect for our educators. So a lot of times it's just finding that finding out that interest that young person has and figuring out how we can work together, how we can spend time together. Let's make it fun. Obviously, some of our kids, I don't really want to hang out with mom or dad, or I want to hang out with grandpa or grand. But I think we got to be persistent, and then find a common ground that we can enjoy each other's time. Because sometimes it's good for them to learn about you. One of the things I always say when I go to presentations, say, well, you know what? Maybe to hear it from you, the message will come across differently. So sometimes, yeah, when the parents there and you had to do this, you have to do that. The kids become, they become distant at times, because they feel like now you're scolding them. But I think at the end of the day, it's also being able to know how to approach that child, or how to approach that young person, not come across as if you're like dictating or telling them what to do. But it's more, hey, how do you feel about this? What do you think if we should do this? What do you recommend? I think sometimes we have to put the ball in their court and figure out exactly how they want to do it. We were raised in a different culture where you did what your parents told you to do. No ifs and buts about it. We still kind of instill that a little bit sometimes. I don't, we all come from different cultural backgrounds, and I think it's important to instill some of those discipline styles. Not the way, my parents, discipline me. But at the same token, because we're old school, but at the same token, is making sure that we find a common ground with our kids and figure out what their interests are and have fun with them and enjoy. I think it's quality time. Watching the show together. Hey, disconnect from your phone for a second. Hey, you don't have to go out with your friends at this time, and also knowing who their friends are. Sometimes as parents, we don't know who our kids' friends are. We allow them to spend time with their friends. They're online with a friend that we don't even know sometimes. So I made it, and my wife and I made it our duty to make sure that we knew where our kids were, who their friends were, who their parents were, because I think that's key too. So I think, if it answers the questions is great, but I think it's just kind of engaging your youth even more with activities that you can probably, complement each other with.
And one thing I want to just throw in, remember, we were once young. We did not come out this size. We would have ripped our mama open.
Yeah.
But remember when we were that age and what we would have wanted our parents to say or ask us, and take that and you transfer that to your kid and say, well, what is it that you would like? What motivates and what drives you? But it's not always telling them. You can't tell them what motivates them. You have to find what's in them and have them bring that out. Because just imagine if you're not here any longer, they can't rely on you to motivate them. They need to rely on themselves at some point to motivate themselves to get up, get out, get moving, get in action.
Yes. Yeah, I love that. I'm going to jump in because we got another perspective from our friend Ellen. But one thing I got, since you were right there, I knew you were going to say it. As a mom myself, also I'm going to say to Dee Dee, like, when you're connected so much to Facebook or whatever that is, that's something on there is grabbing their attention, right? So it's like, even that, like the way I connect to my daughter now, and she's 9, like turning 9, is, like, hey, what she watches, then I get to have a conversation with her about that. And so if he or she is on TikTok so much, what is that? Like, oh man, I see you watching that dance style. I see you then you get into that dialogue and you get them to talk about, because that's the thing that's motivating them. Hopefully it's good, but if not, there's that inner thing, so that's what I just want to say. But Ellen threw up there, and then we'll get to the next question is, I think for our youth to volunteer. So having a mentor, because you're a mentor, so sometimes it doesn't always come from us, the people, help others build such a good sense of self and accomplishments. The exterior is the most recognized now, but developing our insides will really build nice character for young people and see them in the right direction. And they'll start feeling good about themselves because they are doing good for others.
Yes.
And that is like a bomb drop. I don't have time to drop it, because that is exactly something that is being implemented in our home.
Yes.
And my daughter was like, and I was like, no, we've got a group once a month now volunteering to, but I didn't say this is where, like, thank you. Like, it was like, here's some of the things, like, where would you like to volunteer?
Right.
And so I left it for her rather than mommy and daddy said, you have to do this.
Right.
So she wasn't thrilled about the volunteer, but I'm like, but if you could, and I could tell you, like for a 9-year-old, she was like, I want to volunteer at the Build-A-Bear. Hey, if that's
Yeah.
the first step in that has her
Yeah.
see how a business is run, even though my little brain is like, what? Then yeah, let's make that happen. So
No,
yes,
it's key. I'll tell you. I mean, what Ellen said is right on point.
thank you,
Um,
Ellen.
I was, yeah, thank you, Ellen. I appreciate it. I was invited, and I'm going to give him a shout. I was invited this past weekend to do a presentation for the national. It was a national organization of Black law enforcement youth leadership event here in South Florida and here in Hollywood Beach, and my presentation not just focused on motivation, but also how do we um, project, or how do we have our youth develop community projects? So how do we bring community projects to life? So let me tell you something. When I do my presentations, because the kids, going back to what you said, the kids are very visual. They're in their phones. They're so my presentations, I have PowerPoints, and my PowerPoints is just images, because everybody's so visual. So when you see a big screen out there and you see a picture of, pertaining to success, pertaining to self-investment, it was amazing. Like I said, I walked the floor. I tell the young people, listen, this is going to be a very interactive presentation. I want you guys to participate. Feel free to ask questions, and be respectful to one another. Let's raise your hand. But I think at the end of the day, is like it was amazing how we must have had. Oh, my wife, who is my manager, who's part of my security team, who's my assistant, who does it all, was there with me, and she was able to, she gave out, a few cardboard poster boards to the different tables and groups. We must have had like around 10, 11 tables. I mean, I lost count. But it's amazing how the kids, when they work together as a group, they were able to think of so many community projects that they could bring to life. And it so happens that Saturday I volunteered also through the agency that I work with. We did a back to school event. So I kind of spoke to them, how ironically that I volunteer and how good it makes you feel when you volunteer and do for others. So I'm going to share some of the things I did. One of them, because there were different young people from different states. So one of them came up with a community project dealing with after school programs, how to educate the kids provide better education for them for an after school program, not just playing games and having fun, but kind of helping them with the educational needs. One of them talked about the potholes here in South Florida, reaching out to the Department of Florida Highway and figuring out how they can fund to make sure that there's, we fixed our roads. Another one was 3 young men from DC who mentioned developing or having more recreational centers for young community kids to have basketball courts. And I was like, really? That's a lack of in DC. And they were like, yeah, we don't have a lot of. So it kind of amazing how they just brainstormed. There was a few more amazing volunteering insights that they had. And let me tell you, to me, it's gratifying to see that. And that's what it's all about, and it goes exactly what Ellen said, is making sure that our young people understand and they feel a sense of accomplishment by helping others, because that's what it's all about. We need to help one another.
Awesome. So we've got one more question that we can take. Sis, can you read that? No, we can't hear you.
Whoops, I was on mute because I was coughing. But hello, I'm back. What is the most challenging? What do you find the most challenging in getting your message across to our youth today?
I feel there's challenges everywhere. I don't think there's a specific challenge that I face. I think it's more of I go there to present with an open mind, an open mindset, and making sure that our kids understand the importance of their value. Like I said before, challenges could be going back to what I said. The distractions that they have with the social media. There's not a time when I'm presenting where I have to remind the kids about getting off their phone or, hey, be respectful. I think once I go there and I set the ground rules, they're respected and maybe they're eager to hear what I have to say when I do my presentations. But challenges I think it's just going back to it. I think the challenges that we might have with our young people nowadays is those decision-making skills in which we talk about surround yourself with positive people. There's so much negativity nowadays, and like I said, going back to social media, the music itself. We didn't grow up in the music that we are listening to nowadays. So the lyrics. I mean, sometimes I'm annoyed when I listen to the lyrics, but I tell a lot of young people, listen, that's what's selling. So that's what's out there. Doesn't necessarily mean that the artist is a bad person, but this is what's selling, and that's what you guys are listening to. So I think it's just those messages are very negative at times. I'm very big on respecting women. So I think our young ladies are not respected the way they should be. Women in general are not respected the way they should be. And I talk to our young men about that. So challenging is also, that having a young man understand the importance and value of our women and our mothers and our grandmothers and our aunts and their sisters and stuff like that. So I've when I do my presentation, I talk about that. I give a shout out to the young ladies and say, girls, you don't know how valuable you are. You got to understand your self-worth, and you got to be treated with that great level of respect. And I carry that. I carry myself along that. I'm not perfect, but I try to make the best effort always. So little challenges. One of the things I always say, and I'll leave you with this also, is like, the great Mahatma Gandhi said, in order to find ourselves, we must be a service to others. So I think that's where I'm at. I think I find myself being of service to the young people that I work with. So I think I still find myself in that realm of being of service to others at all times.
I love that. Speaking of young ladies and young women, where is yours? Where's your young lady, your
He's around
young
here
woman,
somewhere.
your security? Can you bring your security on camera as
There
well?
she goes. There she
She knew
comes.
I was going to do this. Hi, security. How are you?
Hi.
Hello.
We want to wish you a
wanna
happy
say
30th
happy
Oh.
anniversary.
happy
Oh, that's awesome.
anniversary.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Now we
Yeah,
know it's
thank you
not
so much.
until
That's
later on,
nice.
but we
Yeah, it's
wanted to just say happy anniversary.
That's okay.
That's why I
Thank you.
wanted your favorite colors. You see.
Yes, that's next.
We are
Next.
sneaky. We may be real
Yes,
talk and real action, but there's a little sneaky funness behind it.
yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, next Friday. Next Friday will be not this Friday. The following Friday, the 29th, will be anniversary. And
33
Us, we wish
years.
it to you. 33. Yep. Ready one more
Yeah.
time, people. You want to see how beautiful.
yes,
Happy 33 anniversary, Gaston and
Thank you. That's
Yolanda.
beautiful. Thank
and you
you.
know how the old saying, and we've never had a fight.
That's a whole other show.
Yes, yes. But listen, I'm very thankful to everyone. I'm thankful to my wife as well for supporting me, because this just started. I just started this as a brand last year. I was volunteering a lot. I was doing a lot of volunteers. I think Raquel, I mentioned to you as well, and Regina. Um, and my wife always said, hey, listen, people want to hear you talk. People would like to see you present. And I've been blessed lately this past year that through networking, I'm not a big social media guy, but through networking, I've been able to build relationships with different organizations, and I've been invited to speak. I want to give a shout out to the ladies at, Women Impacting Neighborhoods here in Miramar, Florida. They invited me, they believed in me, and they invited me to present, and they invited me to be a part of their board of directors. And I always give a shout out to them. They provide great service to the community as well, for our youth. They do amazing work. So Stephanie, Miss Yolanda, and Miss Linda, thank you for your hard work. I appreciate you ladies as well. So thank you. Yes,
Awesome.
yes,
So
Great.
I've got a question.
yes.
We're about to wrap up. What is it that you want to leave our audience with?
Well, I always talk not just the fact that it's important with the respect, professionalism, integrity, but I think it's important that we always carry ourselves in a level of understanding. Sometimes people are going through tough situations, and just a simple hello, a simple thank you, a simple I appreciate you goes a long way. Because sometimes people get up in the mornings and they're going through something tough. Like I said before, it's like, and I'm going to make it brief. I did a presentation for Life Net for Families here in Broward for the homeless population. And let me tell you something. A lot of people are not homeless by choice. Situations happen. And it was so gratifying to me when I met so many people there that very, very bright individuals still continue to have a positive outlook on life. And I think that's what it is. A level of positivity goes a long way. And, if with my presentations, I look forward to it. I look forward to being able to try to make a difference. We might not reach everyone, but if we can reach one person out of 10 or 20, you've done the best possible job you can. And also planting a seed, pay it forward. I think it's important that we pay for it. One of the things that Malcolm X said, the future belongs to those who prepare for it. So I like using all these quotes because I've been around that, and the people that mentor me, and I said this, I don't know if I mentioned to you ladies, I've worked on the directives of women. I've had a lot of women directors who I've learned from. So I think for me, it was a privilege to be under the tutorial of ladies that actually manage group homes. And also, like I said, my friend Grant Perkovich, who also was the director, and one of the things he always said was, what counts is what you do when people are not looking. I think, he used to say that all the time, and I kind of use that as well. Because every day, yes, I'm sorry.
No, I said absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Every
So,
day is a teaching moment.
yes, make every moment is a teachable moment. One thing that I got from tonight was absolutely education is a powerful tool to change the world. And education sometimes does not come in the form of a formal setting.
Mhm.
And I know that sounds weird coming from someone who is an educator, but it's the truth, because this is what we do here. Real talk, real actions to get real results.
Yes, it
It's
is.
important that we support our youth.
Yes.
Our youth, yes, are our present. At some point, they'll be our future and we'll rely on them. So instead of talking about them, how about supporting them, encouraging them,
Yes.
treating them with respect, professionalism, and letting them find that integrity? Because integrity, you can do it not so much by talking about it, but showing.
Most definitely.
That really matters. And at the end of the day, none of this matters doing it alone, but it is only together that we can rise and thrive. Till next time.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. I